Good morning, you motherfuckers. Good fucking morning. How we doing today? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Good morning, everybody. How you badass motherfuckers doing? It's all on me, motherfuckers. It's the Morning Drinking Show. I'm your host, Greg. Yep, that's me. That's that mugshot. Because what? We chronicling what? 10 fucking years of sobriety, 10 years of transformation. And guess what? 10 weeks of consistency. Getting on here with what? Zero excuses. Talking all that shit. And I felt pretty humbled yesterday. Had a little write up. Had a big write up, right? That's not a little. Fuck. Had a write up in the fucking Albuquerque Journal. It's a big time fucking newspaper out here in New Mexico. Grateful for the writer of that article reaching out and want to share my story, right? Want to broadcast this story, hearing the passion, hearing the authenticity, the real shit, motherfuckers, the real shit. Cause what? We talking about my life and we getting real, and you know how I like my truth. Welcome to any new listeners, as this message continues to grow and expand. And, I get all you coming out, reaching out, just letting me know, man, the ways that this is impacting you. A message, right? A message. I'm just telling you guys my story. I'm telling you my perspective. And it's been an incredible journey, right? I'm truly grateful. But here we are, another fucking weekend. Right? 10 fucking weekends, 10 weeks. Not missing one day, man. That's zero fucking excuses. What do you think? Lots of results? Of course. Of course I got lots of results. I'm in a whole new fucking world, man. That's how many results we got. Holy shit. How many of you guys in the last 10 weeks have something just incredible that you've accomplished? Since January 1st, remember that shit? New year, new me. New year, new me. Here we go, right? How many of you guys can say that you have this much kind of like a huge transformation in your life, right? You've dropped 25 pounds. You've switched up nutrition and you've stayed after it. You've hit the gym. You've increased your strength, right? You've been saving up money for that dream trip. What is it? What is it that you started this year off dreaming about, thinking of, creating goals, and we call them resolutions? What is it that you have to show after 10 weeks? I'm in a whole nother place, man. I'm fulfilling a role in a venture that I didn't even apply for. I didn't even submit a resume, you guys. That's how crazy this is. And now I'm sitting in a whole new house. Y'all got to start realizing, man, the power of your thinking, the power of your thoughts, your state of mind, right? I've been getting on here for how many weeks? 10 weeks, right? I was grateful for the article that came out in the Albuquerque Journal. And yet what? It's all about this. This is the good broken record every single day, man. Every single day. This morning, I woke up right away. I came out of a dream because I've been doing a lot of dreaming lately. And I had a dream and I've been processing, in all honesty, right? We talk about honesty here, right? I like getting honest with the audience. There's something nice about authenticity, right? Being authentic, not holding back. So I don't know what it is this week. I've been processing a lot of emotions and thoughts from my previous relationship, right? It ended last fall. And for some reason, just the memories and all this stuff is just resurfacing. And I literally woke up this morning and I was with this person and I said, "Am I still your boyfriend?" And she's like, "No." And then poof, I came out of my dream. Straight real talk, man. And I said, "Fuck, okay, well, that sucks." But it's the reality. And so right after that, man, I have to check that. Like I didn't sit there and dwell on it and think about it. I just started getting into what? My gratitude. Gratitude, man. Every fucking morning, checking the thoughts, getting straight into gratitude. And it's not easy. Most of us just don't come out of our sleep coma or our fatigue or however we sleep. And last night I slept really amazing. Right. And it's not always easy sleeping great after I've slept in my new place 3 nights. The first night was like 50-50 good. There's a lot more light coming in. So I've been hanging up blinds and stuff to really, I like dark. I like a dark room. I don't mind the noise so much, but the dark is important to me. And so the first night was like 50-50. The second night was pretty solid. And last night was really good. And so I come out of this dream. And I just had to check myself every day. Gratitude, man, gratitude. Now, something else that happened this week is on Thursday, right? It's like my only half day. Like, man, I don't really have like consecutive days off. I don't have days off, right? I'm in this hospitality deal. We're remodeling, right? Total remodel, rebranding of a motel here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm the general manager, a partner of this team that's undertaking this, but I'm all hands on deck, right? I'm in the trenches. And so it's a big endeavor. It's taking a lot of my time and energy, and I'm grateful for it. I love the challenge. And I really think that in life, the greatest opportunities I've missed are the times when I'm resisting, right? I'm resisting the challenges. I'm resisting getting outside of my fucking head and my thoughts and my feelings. The feelings, you know how much our feelings hold us back? Shit. God, I can't tell you how much my feelings I don't feel like working out today. I don't feel like eating healthy right now. I don't feel like, saying sorry to that person and healing that relationship. I don't feel like doing the dishes, right? It could be the most simple things that we just don't feel like doing it. And guess what? Because you're a motherfucking adult, right? You don't have to do it. And a lot of us need to parent ourselves because we grew up in different types of environments. And a lot of times our parents, right, our caretakers, right? It's hard to even say parents nowadays because there's so much dysfunction in this world that the typical mother, father upbringing is becoming more rare and rare and rare. It's not the common. I don't think that's the commonplace anymore. So caregivers, right? Even as a 4th, 5th grade teacher in a really rough school here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, I think I had maybe 1 or 2 kids out of like 20 to 30 that actually had a traditional family setting. So it was like caregivers or the adults that are responsible for you. It was really eye-opening. But I know it's reflective of society at large. Many of the listeners right now, you guys, right, don't necessarily have that parents that are still together 40, 50 years later. And even if they are, how our parents treated us, their emotional availability, their emotional neglect, right? The abuse. There's so much of that shit that goes down. And that way that impacts us from 0 to 10 years old, it creates trauma. And those traumas then play out into our life for the rest of our lives until we heal them. And so I flash back to this week. And, it's continual, guys. The healing process, the self-discovery, the self-mastery, it's never going to end. I know it's never going to end, but there is growth each and every day. If you do what? Put in the fucking work. You got to put in the work. And this is the work that works for me. Those of you that are just tuning in here, I got 5 daily values, right, that matter to me every single day, right? Starts with mindfulness in the morning, fitness, nutrition, right? Personal development, and then making a difference. Those 5 things is what fills my cup. You might have something different that fills your cup, but ultimately each and every one of these things I know makes me feel alive. I know adds positive energy and light and just makes me feel good about myself on a deeper level, right? Not just the surface fucking level, right? Not just like, if you bring something from the external in, right? Drinking a beer, smoking some weed, whatever the fuck is your thing, it makes you feel good, but it doesn't last. It's artificial, right? It's temporary. And so these things here truly give me that health, wellness, and state of being that is so fucking empowering for me. So I can wake up and do life what? At 100% every day, right? So that I'm doing life, life's not fucking me. You guys like that, right? Doing life, not life fucking you, right? And then all the people around you, the same thing. So I flash back to this week. I don't have a lot of days off, but I'm very, very focused on self-care. Self-care. And self-care comes in many different forms. I was thinking about today, like I might get a chance in the afternoon to go sneak away for a little hike. I haven't been on a hike in a couple weeks. I'm hurting. I'm hurting to go hiking. I love to hike, you guys. And earlier this week, I went to some hot springs. And, I'm just really in tune with my body. I'm glad, it's really refreshing the fact that I am in a season of singularity, right? I don't have any attachments. I don't have a relationship right now. And so when I go to a place like a hot springs, that's usually somewhere where, you want to take a partner or go on a date or maybe even friends or whatever, right? It's very clingy. You want to be socially accepted. And I think that when you do that, what I observe when I'm there solo is how much energy and attention that it takes to maintain those relationships, right? So again, you're externally focused because if you're there with friends, guess what? You're having to talk and you're having to discuss. And some of that stuff is very enriching to life. Like having human connection, other human connections is a very needed part of a balanced, healthy life. But there are seasons where it's really important for us to just really connect with ourselves because I keep telling you guys, right? The most important relationship you have in this world is with yourself, right? If you want to improve the relationships you have with those people around you, right? You got to improve the relationship you have with yourself. And it took me hitting rock bottom, right? It took me coming out of a 21-year marriage, expiring to 2019, so almost 3 years ago, to wake up and say, who am I? Right? Who am I? Like my whole definition of who I was enmeshed in, I'm a husband, I'm a father, the job I had at the time, helping out veterans at Santa Fe Community College. And, I was lost. I was lost as a man saying like, who am I? Because I could no longer say, oh, well, I'm so-and-so's husband. It's like, that's gone, right? I couldn't even be a family man. That's gone. I'm a father still. I'm grateful for that role in my life. But at the end of the day, we identify with all these titles as if that's who we are. And it's not. It's not. There's something deeper inside of us that is truly who we are. And I'm still discovering this. Right? Is it energy? Like what is the life force in us? What is it when we wake up and we look in the mirror and we see this person looking back at us, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our experiences, our goals, our dreams. I mean, we can go in and out of flow state from the past to the present, to the future. And it's like, who is this person? What is the meaning of our existence? And I've gone through all different types of religious practices and tried all kinds of stuff. And at the end of the day, I'm just neutral right now. I'm neutral when it comes to any kind of religion or doctrine, right? I don't have any issue with a thought or the existence of God, but who God is or what God is, that's something I'm still exploring right now. And so the thing that I've been really thinking about, because I do daily meditation, is, I was in these hot springs and they have like these little fountains that pour out in some of them and they hit you on your body. And, it's kind of interesting. My number one love language is physical touch. You should know your love languages, right? I'm physical touch and then affirmations. Those are top two for me. Well, clearly in a season of singularity, I'm lacking some of that, the affection in that. And it's like, I'm having to purge that neediness from my life. And there is some pain in that. And, there is a desire and a need for that. But yet, I think it's so important as someone that came up in life, right? Just from the earliest stages of life, right? Me and my biological mother, me and my mother being the victims, victims or whatever, we experienced a tremendous amount of abuse, like crazy physical, like medieval kind of abuse at the hands of my biological father. And what happened is we created a trauma bond at the earliest ages, man, like 0 to 2 to 3 years old. We had to flee from that situation. And then ultimately that created codependency in me until my mother decided to go and start another family. And then when that happened at the age of 10, right, I wrote the story in my heart and in my soul that I've been abandoned, right? I've been rejected. And I already had that rejection from just the father not being present. But the abandonment came with the mother and her starting another family and me not being the center of her attention. And that really fucked me up to where when I'm having to wake up in my 40s and process all this childhood trauma and realize the impact it's had on my life, right? And we don't want to do this shit because at the end of the day, what led me to that right there, the bottom, the darkest fucking day of my life, hitting rock fucking bottom, right? Getting arrested for a domestic dispute with my ex-wife, after already having 2 DWIs. I mean, the alcohol was ultimately a result of me having issues. One second. So the alcohol was ultimately what I used for me to basically, for me to numb the pain. Sorry, I'm getting calls here. And I used to all the phone calls coming through. And because that was the substance, right, that helped me to numb my pain for all the years that I did, right? 18 years of just hardcore everywhere I went, man. That was what we did. The drunk motherfucker, right? That's the story of my life. That's the book I'm writing about my 18-year life with the relationship with alcohol, right? Walking around the drunk motherfucker everywhere I went, being belligerent. It doesn't matter if I was in the military, going overseas, here in the States, anywhere I traveled, everywhere I went, it was all about partying and getting drunk. And it caused me so much pain and suffering. And unfortunately, during this past 10 years, right, the 10 years of sobriety, which I'm marching towards July 22nd, 2022, 10 years sobriety. What I finally realized is I took off all these masks, right? I wasn't using substances to numb my pain, to check the fuck out. So I had to start doing what? Life on life's terms. And as a veteran, the VA's in my life. I have VA medical help and I still go to therapy twice a week. And so that may seem like a lot, but it's the therapist I have right now. It's amazing. I would check in with her every day if I could, even if it was just for 10, 15 minutes, because there's such a bad stigma about therapy. But man, I'm telling you, some of you could benefit greatly just from talk therapy, man. It don't mean you're fucked up, right? And there's difference between a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Psychologist, it's talk therapy. Psychiatrist, they want to prescribe you medications that alter your state. And I was never okay with that. I've never taken any of the drugs that they've prescribed to me to alter my state of mind. I don't know what it is. I just I did grow up with my mom. She's a little hippy dippy and I like the holistic approach. I've even used hypnotherapy. I use it even in my meditations. I get into this self-induced hypnotic state, which really helps for the meditation to go even deeper and for me to really apply this self-talk, this positive self-talk because again, when I talk about journaling every day and I talk about our stories, past and present, and then future, we can't change what's happened to us, but you can always give it what? New meaning. You can give your stories new meaning, especially the ones that have caused us trauma, like some of the events I've experienced. and some of that hurt that I've carried around. And so, you know, I was there at the hot springs, and what I've been realizing is that there's areas like in my back, like kind of in my chest, in my heart, but on the back, where I'm realizing I'm very sensitive. I'm very sensitive to this water hitting it, and definitely in my lower back too. And so I'm someone that was looking at my chakras and saying, man, I got some heart wounds, right? I got some blockages here in my heart chakra, right here in my core. And so in the last few days, I've really been doing some heart chakra and some sacral chakra meditations, and I'm realizing that I'm seeing some healing. I'm seeing some heaviness like start to leave my body and process, and then yet I'm having these dreams, processing some residue from past relationships, and I feel like it's very healing, because that's really my goal. Is I want to make sure that I don't continue carrying around broken pieces of me, right? That I don't continue to hold on to that and feel like, oh, time alone. I say it all the time. Time alone does not heal, right? I have talked to people in their 80s, right, that had events, traumatic events that happened to them in their first 5 years of life. And when we start talking about it, for some reason, they start welling up, and they have an emotional breakdown. And this shit happened 70 plus years ago. Well, that tells me that the trauma was never healed. And that's usually what we do. We try and bury this shit into the deepest, darkest parts of our souls. And then we think just ignoring it. And a lot of us, we use substances, right, to check out. We use substances to distract us from truly sitting in and processing our emotional pains and hurts. And so in this season that I'm finding myself in, it's really focusing in right here in my core chakra, this green chakra, this life energy right here in the soul of who I am. And I know it. I can feel it. Like, these waters are very healing. There's stuff in them, and I felt the sensitivity there. And so I've been just putting a lot more focus in on that. And I want to just share that with you guys. Like, you need to start getting in tune with your bodies. You know, you have to start checking in with yourselves, right? And it takes what? Disconnecting from a lot of bullshit. I keep telling you guys, man, turn off the fucking tube. Quit watching all those other motherfuckers work, right? What is that? That's Netflix and chill. Anytime you're sitting there watching TV, you're watching someone else do their job, and that's why they're rich and famous, right? Because you could turn that off and then go invest in you, because that's really the greatest story on this earth. And another experience that I had was this one guy had this tattooed. It was in Spanish, but it was the greatest story ever told. And, you know, it was really his pride of life, of saying, you know, my life is the greatest story ever told because it's my story. And the cool thing is every day that we have life, we get to add new paragraphs, new chapters to the story. It's not set in stone. Your future, your destiny is not determined. That is a limiting fucking belief. If you think, oh, the mold is set, the cast is done, this is only thing that I can do in this life. I don't care how old you are, young or old, you can change everything in your life right now, starting today. And it starts right here. It starts in your mind, and then it starts with what? Journaling. Journaling is your storytelling, especially if your mind is disorganized. You got all different types of thoughts pouring in. You know, you're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be really, really frustrated with yourself because you think you can process this stuff and you have this super brain, but it's like, in order to get it from in here, right, to get it out of your head, just going round and round and round, stressing you the fuck out, you gotta write this shit down, right? And I talk about that every day, right? Those are the core essence, right? Journaling every day. But on top of that, it takes what? Total fucking ownership. But one of the things that I've been realizing recently, and this is something that I try and share everywhere we go, right? Because there's so much stress in this world, right? You look around us, we got so much stress. And so everywhere I go, you guys, whether it's to the grocery store, an oil change, any place where there's people working, doing a job, right? So even at the hot springs the other day, you know, there was these young kids and they were working and they were kind of like playing around, but they were still there, right? They were there. The fact that they were there was great. And I always make a fact to tell people, hey, thank you for being here, right? You go to the hardware store, someone helps you out. Hey man, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. You know, are you that kind of person? Or are you the person that fucking brings people stress, right? You know, I'm in the hospitality, man, and I've encountered some really nasty people this week, some really nasty people. And at least I see them as they're just hurting. There's something going on. They're stressed. They're overwhelmed. They're frustrated, whatever it is, but they carry around a lot of negativity. And it's kind of comes across as nasty, you know, it's negative energy. And I don't like being around it, but we're faced with it. It is a reality. A lot of people are hurting and they don't realize that they're going out there and just hurting other people, just trying to mess people up. And reciprocity is something I've been thinking about lately. And it was so cool that this came from the mind of probably a kid, man. These kids seem pretty young. I don't think they were over 20 for sure. They were probably high school kids. And they were working kind of in a little locker room type area, a little seating area. And I was filling up my water bottle. And I said, hey, you guys, thank you for being here, man. You know, we wouldn't be here if you know, I couldn't be here if you guys aren't here, right? If they don't have workers, the place couldn't be open. And they're like, well, thank you for being here too. This young lady said, well, thank you for being here because we couldn't be here if you're not here. And it just was like, it made my heart, like I can't even get a little emotional when someone actually sees that life is an exchange, that you can't just be a taker, right? And you can't just hold on to shit. You got to let go of some shit sometimes. And a lot of times we're holding on to so much old hurt and pain. It's just like, it felt so good to see a young lady see the reciprocity of, wow, she was thanked, which tells me that that really made her feel good, that someone actually stopped to appreciate her being there and putting her time and energy into that place, providing a presence and service to other people, right? With their time. Time's our most valuable thing. And she's all, you know, it was just a beautiful exchange, right? Thank you for being here. You know, I wouldn't be able to be a guest here if you're not here. And she's like, well, I won't be able to work here if you're not here. So it takes both of us to make this happen. And I was just like, man, I still feel the gratitude because that was such a loving moment of exchange of humanity. And there's been other times where recently I've had people that, you know, I think can take that for granted. We go out of our way and we do something for somebody, right? And some of it's even just our own expectations, because I try and process that too. Is that me just am I having a false expectation of somebody else? And that does screw us up a lot. If we really think into our relationships, we screw ourselves over a lot in relationships, particularly intimate relationships, but I've also experienced this in work relationships, is when we don't express our needs, when we cannot communicate the things that we need, the things that we are feeling that are hurting us, right? We hold it in and then we just walk away or ghost or whatever the fuck's going on. But it's interesting when someone's done something for us, and if we don't instantly do something in return of equal measure, it's taken as an offense. Or we leave somebody hanging, right? We do something for somebody else and then they just kind of say, hey, thanks, have a nice day. And then they just leave you fucking hanging. But you're like, wait, I just did something for you. You're not gonna do nothing? You're not gonna do something? You have more important things to do. And yet the old me would have got caught up on those things, because a lot of times when we do stuff, come on now, we know, I'm talking to adults here, right? When you do something for somebody else, you usually expect something in return. Something, right? A little something, a little something. When you do something for somebody else, even if it's just a thank you, right? I appreciate you. Maybe it's just something like that, right? Just to be appreciated. And I've been in relationships in the past where it was like I was with somebody that it felt like they would express being overwhelmed to feel that if I did something that they would somehow need to appreciate me. And it's like they like worship me, and I'm like, no, I don't need worship, but just if you're grateful for the things I'm doing, that they're impacting you in a positive way, like I think that gratitude should just flow freely. It's not expected, but if you are a recipient and in a healthy relationship, friendships, it doesn't matter, work, if you're in a work relationship and someone shows up with fucking coffee, right? Someone calls in the morning, hey, what's your Starbucks order? And they bring you in coffee and hand out coffee to everybody, and everybody just doesn't give a fuck, right? That's pretty fucked up, right? And then when you're like, oh, I bought you guys all coffee, no one even said thank you. Well, why the fuck should we say thank you? Did you buy coffee for us to say thank you, or did you buy coffee because you want to do something nice for us? It's like, that's a shitty way to look at it, but I can see that perspective, I guess. Do you see that perspective? Are you someone that's like that? Where do you fall when it comes to expectations on other fucking people? Because reciprocity is really like an ebb and flow. It is like in yin and yang. It's like a balancing of the scales where, like, what you give to the universe comes back to you. And so it's really hard when we start giving of ourselves to other people. That's where shit gets fucked up. Because I believe the universal abundance, the law of attraction, is that usually if we are giving of ourselves into a universe, to energy, even in this presentation of the It's All on Me, the morning drinking show, I'm just giving of myself and it's coming back to me. Those of you that take little bits of time to come back and circle, whether it's, privately through DM or publicly in the comments, and they're like saying, hey man, I'm proud of you, I appreciate you, you're making a difference, any of that stuff, like, it's beautiful, man. And it gets me emotional. And it is because part of my second love language is words of affirmation. And a lot of that has to do with what, you guys? Why do you think words of affirmation is so high up for me? Right? If you know my story and my upbringing, guess what? It's because I had a lot of emotional neglect growing up, right? There was a lot of times I didn't get that. I didn't get that nurturing energy from my caregivers. I didn't get told these nice things. And so it's like, you're kind of starving for it because you didn't have it. And even just that physical touch, that affection, right? There was a lot of probably, spankings and pinches and all kinds of other weird shit, right? As forms of discipline. And so I kind of lacked that. And that's where all this stuff comes through. And it's like, until we're willing to get honest with ourselves and start to realize our trauma, and it's like, you have to go back into the ethos of your life and really break down your life into chunks, right? You're 0 to 10, right? Your teenage years, kind of 10 to 20, and then 20 to pretty much wherever you're at now. If you're past 30, 40, right? You could even go from like 40 on, and you just break down those phases of life. And the hardest one, but it's truly the foundation of your life, is the 0 to like 10 years old. And most of us don't have the best memories when it comes to that. So even in my own journey, I've had to circle back to family members to get their perspective. Hey, what happened during this time? And get it from multiple sources to try and fill in the blanks in my own mind. And even then, do I know the full story? Probably not. But I know enough of the stories to have a visual movie that can kind of play itself out as to what the fuck happened, and knowing how it's disturbed me, how it's created a trauma scar, a trauma wound within my soul, within my body. And that's the thing, it's our bodies, right? Because it's our bodies that actually are the recorders of our feelings. And when we're little babies, right, we have two feelings, primal feelings. We're either happy, yay, or we're sad, wah. And the more fucking traumatic terror events that we have as kids, man, it messes us up. It totally creates instability with our emotional regulation. And for so many years, right there, that shit right there, that fucking mugshot, you know, manifested itself into reality as a result of the hurt and the pain that I was always trying to cover up, the need, the fear of feeling abandoned, right? From my ex-wife, the fear of, you know, just numbing the pain, feeling so depressed, feeling like I'm a failure, right? That was really what it was. A lot of it was just, but it came about from my childhood. It was still playing itself out. And it's like trauma is still a very new thing. We don't think about it. And the reason why it's so at the forefront for me is because when I stepped into public education as a teacher, 4th and 5th grade, right, I had to see these kids real time, 9, 10-year-olds, real time walking in with dead energy. I could see the trauma, and we were a trauma-informed school. So we actually had professional training about how to process, how to help children process trauma, how to notice trauma. And then we even had like these calming, quiet corners. Even as a school, guys, we used to do a mindful minute. So like 5 minutes at the start of the day, we have our little counselor, our school counselor, get on and do meditations, do affirmations and mindfulness. And it was very powerful because it really helped me to start looking inside myself and seeing the hurts. But when I think about reciprocity, this is what messes a lot of us up is, you know, we get so caught up with expectations, especially in relationships. And unfortunately, a lot of expectations are unspoken. And that's what fucks people up. Is when you get into a relationship, whether it's a workplace relationship, a friendship, or an intimate relationship, and you have unspoken expectations, you are not able to communicate your needs. You are not capable of directly speaking to somebody to try and express how you are feeling about a situation, how someone else's actions have made you feel, that you literally just shut down. And you don't, and then you allow for resentment and hurt to build up so that the relationship, the dynamic between you becomes toxic, right? It's like the problem in the past for me is I used to be someone always aiming to please. And so I would constantly find myself in relationships where I'm bending over fucking backwards. I'm selling out myself. I am literally giving up my own fucking self in order to what? Make this person feel happy, thinking that what? I keep telling you guys, right? The key to your happiness should be in your fucking heart, in your own back pocket. If you have handed the key to your happiness to some other motherfucker, you need to take that shit back. You need to take it back because no one else is tasked with making you feel happy. It's just, that's not okay. Now, there are certainly times in healthy relationships where if you're a healthy and whole person, meaning you have processed your childhood trauma, you can emotionally regulate, because not every relationship is going to be happy all the time. There is going to be conflict. There is going to be misunderstandings. But if you are truly expecting someone else to provide you with happiness, right? To make you feel good about yourself. And if they don't, then you're going to take that out on them. Then it's their fault. And then you're ready to do what? Walk. You're ready to abandon or complain, right? You think about in this hospitality game, right? I can look at my own occupation. People show up here with an expectation of literally being waited on hand and foot, like taken care of. And even research shows that when you Go on vacation and you check into a hotel, a resort, an inn, a motel, whatever the fuck it is, Airbnb. You don't want to feel like you're at home. You want to feel like you're at your mom's home, like you're going to be taken care of. So anytime you have a complaint, they need to take care of it. And yet we have these expectations where we can be really nasty and rude. And we do it to, I remember being told this, and it's because I always am willing to examine myself. I used to get told this a lot. And there's truth in all things, I believe, is that there's times in my life where I've been an ass to people that they're like, you literally treat strangers better than you do me, and you're telling me that you love me, right? That's a hard pill to fucking swallow. If someone's ever told you, hey, look, you treat total strangers better than you're treating me right now. And clearly in an intimate relationship, man, there's all different types of variables that create what? Tension and fallout and fights and arguments and just, headbutting. And it sucks when we go through that. And when we stay in it, that's even worse. When we don't create boundaries, when we don't have values, when we don't understand our worth, because that's what it all comes down to. It's all on me. If you want to improve that relationship, right? The only way, you look at every expert out there, if they say, hey, look, you're in a toxic relationship, XYZ, all this stuff is happening, no one's going to say, hey, go and fix your partner, right? Go and make them do counseling. No, they're going to say, guess what? You need to improve you. You have to work on you. You have to invest time, effort, energy into becoming a better version of yourself, doing things that make you feel good about yourself, because that other person cannot be responsible for your state of being. And the law of attraction, I truly believe, is real, is that if you're someone that is insecure, is angry, is heartbroken, right? Honestly, ask yourself, are you angry? Are you resentful? Are you heartbroken right now because of a past relationship that you lost or a relationship you're in right now? Well, guess what? And a lot of people will do this. They'll jump out of one relationship into another, and they realize, oh, fuck, the pattern. It's another toxic relationship. Then they'll jump into another. It's another toxic relationship, another toxic relationship. And unless you're willing to get real with yourself and start seeing this pattern play itself out in your life, right? You're not going to be able to grow. You're going to stay in that pattern. It's just like what alcohol did with me. That is how I can conceptualize and really put into context what alcohol meant to me, is that it was a relationship. It was a toxic relationship, because no matter how much it hurt me, I kept going back to it, and it would hurt me and it would leave me even more in more pain. It would cause me, it's caused me lifelong fucking suffering with criminal fucking shit. And yet I kept going back to it as if somehow it would get better. Somehow it would improve. Somehow it was not going to do that to me again. Now, is that my way of saying, deflecting and say I'm not responsible for my behavior? I'm 100% fucking responsible. Remember, it's all on me, motherfuckers. I'm taking total fucking responsibility. But the problem is that I had a relationship with alcohol, and it inside of me, holy fuck, I had no control over that shit. Like, I did have control, but the thing is I didn't allow myself to have a boundary. There we go. Bingo. I love how when I just start talking, it makes more sense. The boundaries were not there. So even in my marriage that has expired, and even in some relationships I've had, I have failed to set boundaries, right? And when you don't set boundaries on something and then fucking hold those uphold those boundaries, right? Because it's one thing to say, okay, here's a boundary. I will not accept any form of disrespect. And then that person disrespects you. And then you say, but I like you a lot. Don't do that again. You disrespected me. And then you kind of like your boundary kind of shrinks. And then they disrespect you again. And then your boundary actually, it's like a fence, right? The boundary kind of falls the fucking apart. And they disrespect you again. The boundary is totally on. So they're just fucking walking all over you. Right? And so if you don't create boundaries, and when you don't create boundaries, what does that say about you? You probably don't value yourself. You have a fucking bad relationship with yourself. And where does that come from? Your childhood. It comes from your childhood. If you have lack of value, lack of self-worth, lack of self-confidence, lack of self-esteem, the caregivers spoke their insecurities over you. And it's such a vicious cycle that we pass this shit on from one generation to the next. And here I am, fucking 2022, right? 10 years of sobriety, 10 years of fucking transformation, figuring this out, presenting to you guys my story so that I can do what? Help you to expedite your fucking process of healing. Because that's what this is about. This whole story is about taking total fucking ownership of what? Your life, so you can heal. So you can really heal to become the best version of yourself. So you can stop getting in your own way. So you can stop fucking settling for less. So you can elevate your standard. So that you can fucking invigorate your hopes and dreams and your goals. And that may take you having to let go of everything. That doesn't mean you'll lose it all, right? But you'll lose the things that just aren't meant for you, because there's a lot of things that we hold on to, right? Because we're insecure, because we're afraid, we're scared of the unknown. So all we have is this, and we hold on and we clinch on even tighter and tighter. And all it does is cause us more and more pain. That was me with alcohol. That was me in a fucking relationship that expired last year. Holding on. And now I'm still having to say, you know what? I have to process. There's something deeper, because it wasn't just the relationship recently. There's a deeper hurt inside of me. Some heart wounds that have been there, that it's like the process is continual, but it's not just time alone that heals. You got to put energy and focus into your healing. And it starts here, you guys, right? There is something so important about the food that you feed yourself. This processed junk food, man, it fucks you. It fucks up your whole entire system. And there's something about putting in clean food in you. It gives you clean energy. It gives you clear focus. And that's what's helped me to really kickstart a lot of this transformation, to really manifest itself, that where I'm only 10 weeks into this year, and I'm making I'm making the most money I've made since I owned my business in Southern California over 12 years ago, right? I'm in a whole brand new fucking place. I'm living in a whole new place. Right. And it's all my dreams are starting to fucking bring themselves forth. Right. They're manifesting themselves into reality, where I didn't even apply for the job. Right. I didn't even apply for the job. I didn't even do an interview. I got given an offer. I said, that's not enough. I want more. Bingo. And even then, it was me. I was like sitting there. Should I ask for more? This is a really good offer. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, you need to ask for more, because when the days get long, like they are right now, and you're not getting all this time off that you've been used to as an educator, as a public educator, right? But the level of stress, being in that system, having some time off, like I see my previous coworkers, man, they are so fucking stressed out. They are so burnt out that, yeah, they got spring break off next week, right? But they got to go back to that bullshit. And right now, I'm living my best life, because the challenge that I'm taking on right now is fulfilling me. It's causing me to grow, and it's causing me to lead a team. I've built a team that is very positive, and the energy here, it's mine. I'm in charge. Like, I'm bringing in people that are sharing my vision and have positive energy, because that was number one. Before I accepted the offer to take on this role, to get in this venture, I told my partners, I said, look, two things. If you're looking to be my boss, I'm already a no. I'm a hard no on this opportunity. And the second thing was I need to go to that property and feel the energy. That's how important this stuff is. If the energy was tense and like just stressed out, like I have felt when I go to natural disasters, I wouldn't have done it. But I came on this property and it's peaceful, right? Even though it's in the midst of the town, and it's such big contrast from where I was living at previously to where I'm living at now. Huge contrast. But the energy that I reside upon, the ground that I am working on and living on, it is amazing. It is very peaceful, right? It is very positive. I can feel that this is good energy here, right? And I'm grateful that I'm able to now share this message with you from such a positive place, because I'm going to keep showing up, motherfuckers, every fucking day. Because guess what? We take no days off. Life does not give us the day off until we die, right? Whether you want to check the fuck out and you call that taking a day off, right? Every day is an opportunity for you to work on yourself. And even if you just do a little bit every day, you guys, a little bit. Some of you can't just go hit a fucking 2-hour gym workout, Navy SEAL fucking type training, right? Some of you can't go hike up a fucking huge mountain, but you can do a little something today to help yourself. You can do a little bit of this program here. And if you do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day, guess what? Maybe you're hearing, fuck, this guy's already done all this in 10 weeks. I ain't done shit. Now's the time. It's now, motherfucker. Because in 10 weeks from now, I am not going to be in this. I'm going to be in a whole nother place. I may be in the same place, but this place is transforming. I'm painting walls, redoing my kitchen, redoing 28 units. I am moving forward, marching, transformation every fucking day, because that's life. It's about growing. It's not about staying put, no matter where you're at, no matter what level of success you think you have. There is some area or some aspect of your life that you need to work on to improve, to become a better version of yourself, so that when you become a better version of yourself, then you can give of your abundance, and guess what? Not expect anything in fucking return. So that when people don't say thank you, it's okay. It didn't come with strings attached. Give freely, right? Because it is true. The more you give, the more you receive. And even if that's not in terms of people, the universe will honor that. Are you giving of universal abundance, or are you giving from material abundance that's just earthly? Give of the abundance that is limitless, universal. It goes beyond anything that anyone could possess, but yet everyone has access to it, and there's no limit. But you got to put in the work to get there, to find your best version of yourself, the higher self that is inside each and every one of us. We are divine creation, man. It is beautiful to be alive today, because guess what? This past week, almost 2 million people died on this earth. Y'all just probably watching what's going on in Ukraine. But every single week, almost 2 million people die every week. Every day, that's 250,000 fucking people. 250,000, right? Took their last breath yesterday. You're not one of them. So that tells me you got two things. You got choice and you got a chance. You have a choice to make a difference, and you got a chance to do it. Go do something today, because guess what, motherfuckers? Results kill excuses. It's all on me. Greg's out.